Gonna be a good Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well, yeah, it's the Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you.
I have this, when the dogma becomes legislation, that's when you have the danger. I have this horrible fear that the United States could wend its way toward being a fascist theocracy. The cross converted into a symbol of fascism in the service of politics. This is bad.
Yeah. The biggest threat to America today is not communism. It's moving America toward a fascist theocracy. And everything that's happened during the Reagan administration is steering us right down that pipe.
Oh, Mr. Zappa,
Mr. Zappa. When you have a government that prefers a certain moral code derived from a certain religion, and that moral code turns into legislation to suit one certain religious point of view, and if that code happens to be very, very right-wing, almost toward Attila the Hun...
Well, then you are an anarchist. Every form of civil government is based on some kind of morality, Frank.
Morality in terms of behavior, not in terms of theology.
You have the freedom in this country to state your opinion.
And I hope I continue to have that freedom, and that's why I would not like to see them continue in the direction that they're going.
But you take away their freedom.
I'm not taking away their freedom. I'm saying that they are wrong in what they're desiring to do. When they say that, the only way that you can be a righteous person is to do it by their book, then that's wrong. My recollection of when I was going to school is the Constitution says there's a church and there's a state, and they shouldn't mess with each other. And if they do, then that's against the law. Ain't it? Is that the way it goes?
Even though we call this country a democracy, it's turning out to be more and more a candy-coated dictatorship. And so it seems fairly logical that the people who would like to convert this country into a candy-coated dictatorship would do everything they could to make it impossible for people who communicate through the arts to say anything that might resemble a message like the emperor isn't wearing any clothes. That's the thing that they're the most afraid of. Anybody who will say anything that equates to the emperor's not wearing any clothes, for some reason that scares the piss out of them.
Just stand in opposition to all that crap. I got to tell you, it's just, you know, this president and this administration is dragging this country down every single day in the eyes of the world, in the eyes of its own citizens. You know, the people he has assembled in his administration are a goddamn disgrace. Disgrace. It will take years, maybe decades, to repair the damage that Donald Trump and that group of morons and buffoons is doing to this country each and every day.
Has landed in the United States to returned a sealed indictment charging Abrego Garcia with alien smuggling and conspiracy to commit alien smuggling in violation of Title 8 U.S.C. 1324. We want to thank President Bukele for agreeing to return Abrego Garcia to the United States. Our government presented El Salvador with an arrest warrant, and they agreed to return him to our country. We're grateful to President Bukele for agreeing to return him to our country to face these very serious charges. This is what American justice looks like.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the man deported to El Salvador, will remain behind bars for at least the next week after he was returned to the U.S. Friday to face those criminal charges. President Trump's administration saying that Abrego Garcia was involved in a large human smuggling operation that illegally brought people into the country. Federal magistrate judge Barbara Holmes in Nashville, Tennessee, determining that Abrego Garcia will be held in custody until at least next Friday, when there will be an arraignment and detention hearing.
Breaking news. Human trafficking organization led by best friend of confirmed human trafficker accuses guy they human trafficked of human trafficking. Yo, dog, we heard you like human trafficking. So we accuse the guy we trafficked of trafficking so we can keep trafficking while we traffic him. What an incredible coincidence that the guy who was by the government were never mentioned before. You know, it's an incredible coincidence. In the same way that Elon retroactively becoming a massive liar only after confirming Trump is in the Epstein files is an incredible coincidence. You ever wondered what toppings are on this taco? It's guacamole. The government's unbelievable accusations conveniently appear miraculously once L is evident. You know, first they said it was a mistake. Then he was Tren de Aragua. Then he was MS-13 and he had MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles. Then he was a wife beater. Now he's a human trafficker. Pam Bondi's DUI Taco Bell looking ass is going to come out tomorrow and say Garcia is in the Epstein files. Garcia did 9/11. COVID was invented in Garcia's lab. Abrego wrote and directed Cats. Kilmar Abrego Garcia delayed GTA 6.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John.
Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hope you guys can hear me. Let's see here. Guess I'll keep talking. See if I can hear myself. You want to give me a big old thumbs up? Let me. There it is. I do hear myself. Alrighty. Sorry for the delay. I know it's 11:36 a.m. here in the Pacific time zone in Las Vegas. We're already at 93 degrees. It's supposed to get to 100 today. So things are warming up here in Las Vegas. I was out earlier this morning, and it was only in the 80s, and it felt like 100 to me already. Even though, according to my watch, it was like 82 or something, or 80 something. I don't know. But anyway, how are you guys doing this morning? Thanks for hanging out. Since this is the Hal Sparks after show hangout, I thought I should wait until Hal was actually over. And he went long. He went about 25 minutes long or so. So thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for waiting patiently. Many of you, I'm sure, were actually watching Hal, so it's not like you were waiting patiently. But yeah, I see. It looks like Nikki Haney was first in the chat today. Hi, Nikki. I saw Nikki had posted on another video earlier saying that she works at, I believe, Love's Truck and Travel Stop in Wisconsin, somewhere in Wisconsin. I'm sure there are many Love's travel centers in Wisconsin, so I don't know which one it was, but hey Sandy, good to see you. Thanks for being here in the old driver's lounge. How you doing? Wes Webb's here. Hey Wes, good to see you. Non-useful is here. Says let's get this party started. The Soulcraft is here. AM's here. Hey AM, good to see you. Brooklyn, New York 571, 471, not 571, 471 is here. Good to see Brooklyn. Says hi, Nick Sandy. Non-useful Soulcraft. What about boom? Pam J. Oh yeah, I was talking about how going long. So that was the deal. Pam J, I'm excited for Johnny's next Friday show. I think we're talking about Johnny Million. Hope he will have received his fart pedal. Yeah. Jolie's here. Hey, Jolie, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming on in and helping out with the modding. Brooklyn says it was cloudy back there, apparently in Brooklyn, all day. All day. All damn day. Fancy's here. Hey, Fancy, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Elizabeth Fernandez is in the chat, or was in the chat. I don't know. But thanks for coming on in, Elizabeth. Josh is here. Good to see Josh. Roxanne Epstein is here in the driver's lounge. And Josh needs to go to a pharmacy. I hope everything's all right. Don Musel says major buffering. Hopefully that has stopped. It looks okay on my end. Fancy says it's 65 degrees in Los Angeles right now. That's why I love LA. I did see some videos and footage of a bunch of, I guess it was ICE or whoever it was trying, or Homeland Security, or which ICE I guess is a part of, scooping up some folks and detaining them, which is really just a fancy way of saying arresting, I guess. Scooping up people, throwing them into vans, migrants or immigrants. And that was a big kerfuffle going on in LA yesterday. Roxanne Epstein says it feels like 90 here in northern Florida. Chris Doug is here. Hey, Chris, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Brooklyn says, TJ, that tiny gap in the green screen is driving you crazy. I can tell because you are trying to cover it up. I hadn't even noticed, to tell the truth. Is there one? Let me move over. Is there one over here? Or over here? Is it over? I didn't even notice it, to tell the truth. On my screen, it looks covered. I think I've got it good. But the only bad thing is now I have to keep this set up like this. I cannot take it down. So it's like right in the middle of my living room. Fortunately, I really don't use the living room all that much, except to do this live stream. And I don't have guests that come over, so it's not like, they're going to be walking in, because the front door is like right here. And as you walk in, then the green screen is just like 3 feet away from the door. Because what I was doing, because since this green screen is on a big stand, and what I was doing is after the shows, I would just pick it up and put it up against the wall over here behind me, sort of the partition between the living room and the bedroom. And I would just tuck it. It would be out of the way, But now I'm afraid to even move it because I've got it set up just the way I like it, and I don't want to move it. Jet Up the Base says, Trucker John, you are rubbing off on me. I had the door open at my local coffee house for a man wearing his Dodger hat with his son. I wanted to pop it off today, but I channeled your grace. There you go. See, there is hope for you after all, Jet Up the Base. You can be a good sport. Josh says, I take a beta blocker for my blood pressure. Brooklyn says, no gap. Yeah, I don't think there's a gap. I think we're good. Chris Doug says 74 degrees Fahrenheit with some drizzle and clouds in New Jersey. And apparently doesn't like that because it has an angry emoji. I don't mind a little drizzle and clouds, but if it rained every day, I think I would be happy. Not like torrential downpour, but if we had just a nice little shower, a nice little drizzle, some cloud cover, I prefer that to just baking heat. You know? And then Gin up the base says, not really. I sarcastically said, nice hat, and winked at his kid, pointing to my Giants hat. Just kidding, laughing out loud. Okay, now I don't know which one we were kidding about. We were kidding about the other one? We were kidding about this one? You got to remember, posting stuff in the chat can be very difficult to discern, sarcasm or even jokes and stuff. Josh, you'll have a new apartment next week. Are you like are you telling me my fortune? Are you like are you a medium? Do you know something I don't know? I'm hoping once again. I tried to call Desert Palms. I guess their phone system still doesn't work or something, because at least this time the voicemail didn't just click off. But I did call them and I told them, hey, I went down to the office. I told them about the problem that you were having, and that you were sending the wrong information. They need to know that I've been here since March 28th, not that I moved out since March 28th, blah, blah, blah. And they said they would take care of it. So I just said, let me know if you got it, or if there's any problems, please call me back. And I gave her my phone number. Never heard anything back. Have not heard back. Sandy Foltz, why are you so late? I already explained it, Sandy, right at the top of the show. We were talking about how this is the Hal Sparks after show hangout. Hal Sparks is he's a lot of things, but he does YouTube live streams, has a big following. A lot of us in this chat are what's known as sparklers, because we follow Hal Sparks. And so what this show is it's an after show. And it's open to everybody. You don't have to be a sparkler. You don't have to watch Hal Sparks Show. But it's open to everyone. But it's basically, if anyone wants to continue the chat, continue hanging out, this is a place to do that. But so I was waiting for Hal to explain it already at the very top of the show. Damon Dog, the big dogs here, says, hi, truckers. Oh, yeah, I got some rest. I'm heading home now, resting at a truck stop now, long drive. That's right. Damon Dog, right, was at the was in D.C. yesterday for some protests and some, I don't know, you call it rallies or whatever. And also, I guess, apparently the Dropkick Murphys were there. I did see a video. It wasn't Damon Dog, but I did see something that someone else had posted. Oh, it looks very exciting. So Damon's coming home. Damon Dog is coming home from that. Squirrel Girl. Love a nice gentle rain with no lightning. Lightning. I know lightning is dangerous. And I guess I wouldn't want it like all the time, but it is kind of fun to watch a lightning storm, as long as you don't get struck. Sandy Schultz says it's nice and sunny in Niagara Falls. That sounds nice. I mean, I like sunny days. Don't get me wrong. I like a nice sunny day, but I don't mind if it's overcast and cloudy and a little rainy. I don't mind any of that stuff, because I've always lived in the desert, and we don't get it a lot like in some other parts of the world. So I guess I would just like a little bit more of it. You know what I mean? Or do you know what I mean? Or do you know what I mean? Josh says, you'll eventually have to move the green screen. Yes, eventually. Of course. When I move, yes, to my new apartment that you were talking about. But that's not what I was talking about. Brooklyn, New York says, sometimes I listen to ASMR of heavy rain with thunder on a sleeper train. Well, it could be very relaxing. Nurmudge, Roxanne, MC, yep, Rosanna, I will be on the road on 610 from Taos to California. Coming out to Cali, huh? Jen of the base, Trucker John, I held the door open politely, and we exchanged pleasantries. My sister married a Dodger fan. I came to terms years ago. Giants have more titles in this millennium. Good for you. Good for you and your Giants. Caleb Guillory's here. Hey, Caleb, good to see you. It says it's raining now, and I feel a nap coming on. Yeah, those are nice days, right? When it's kind of a cloudy, rainy day, and you get cozy. Pam J, did you see Hal's cool Prince guitar? When he did that I guess that was at the end. I was making coffee. I was in the kitchen, and I had it on. I was listening to them talk about Prince, so I didn't see him whip out the guitar. I must have missed that because I was sort of getting set up over here. I was getting coffee ready, and I think I missed the guitar, but I may have seen it before. Was it the purple one? Boy, what a guess, huh? I don't know if it was purple. I thought he had one before, or maybe it was a white one. It has a kind of a hook shape to it or something. Sandy Foltz, why do you always have to wait for Hal to get over with? I guess you don't understand the concept, Sandy. I just went over how this is an after show hangout. I don't have to do anything, actually. But I just prefer to wait until his show is over. And that's the end of that conversation. Okay. David Dog says, Midas posted a 4-hour video. I need to scan it for photos of me. Oh, nice. Roxanne Epstein says, Nurmudge will sending you positive moving vibes. Are you moving, or I thought you were just traveling, like on a road trip for a visit? But you're moving to Cali, huh? Steve, I was just listening till TJ started describing Scottish rain and weather. Okay, what I was envisioning is more like a little more tropical, a little more like Hawaii. Now, I've been told that Hawaii has changed due to climate change. Because when I was in Hawaii, it's been about 35 years ago. God, it seems like last week. And I was there for about a week. It was for my honeymoon. And it was beautiful. It was like every day, the temperature was like 72 degrees, whatever, but between 70s, maybe up to 80 at the most. The water was warm. The sun would be out, and then almost every day, it seemed like around 3 in the afternoon or something, some clouds would come up, and it'd be just a nice little sprinkling of rain, a nice little sprinkle for about a half an hour, and then it would go away, and it was not. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like I said, I'm not talking about like torrential downpour every day, and where it's just cold and gloomy, and that's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about more like Hawaii, a little bit, But I've been told that it doesn't do that anymore. I've been told that by people that have been there more recently than I have, that it's not like that anymore. That it's hotter, it doesn't rain as much, and all kinds of shit. So that sucks. That really sucks. Because when I was there, or maybe I just caught Hawaii. Sometimes it's like people who come here to Vegas and they've never been here before, and whatever the weather is during their stay, they just think it's that way all the time. I guess I'm just like the typical tourist or whatever. So I was there in Hawaii, and that the weather was whatever it was like. That doesn't mean it's like that 365, 365 days. So, yeah, I don't know. Jen up the base says, Demi Doug, where should we look for you in the crowd? Were you near the stage, or were you near back by that tree over there? Sandy had gone to Wegmans and McDonald's earlier today. Fancy gets Home Sweet Home. I think talking about LA. I love LA, man. If I could afford to live in LA and, like, more near like Santa Monica or near the beach or something like that, I would do it. Pam says, yes, the purple one. I think I may have seen him whip that out before. I didn't see it today, though. Like I said, I was in the kitchen, and I was going back and forth between the kitchen and the living room and getting this little area set up and everything. So Damon Dog says, Jen, I was everywhere, but mostly up front, right in front. I got some great videos I'll post after I get some editing done. I love y'all. I'll be listening. 158 miles to go. And again, Damon Dog, I think you do you post on Blue Sky? Or do you post anything on YouTube? If you could, just let us know where we could go to check that out. Nurmudge has sent 5 Trucker John gift members. Thank you, Nurmudge. Yippee! That deserves a yippee to Nurmudge. I do appreciate you. That helps the show grow and get members in here, and maybe they'll come in and hang out. So the ones who got it, we've got Gordon Ritchie, Karen Cooney, Wayne Goen, Bionatic Granny, and Carolyn Phelps. So thank you so much, Nurmudge. Hopefully those folks will come on in and hang out with us for a bit. Nurmudge says, breaking news, Zelensky claims that he could end the fight between Musk and Trump in 24 hours. But Pam J, the purple guitar is in the shape of the sign of the artist formerly known as Prince. Yeah, I think I've seen that guitar. I thought he had a white one too, but maybe that wasn't anything to do with Prince. I know. Yeah, I don't know. He has a lot of guitars. So. Chris Doug, I'm a retiree, formerly known as a worker. Sandy Foltz says, Sir John, if I had lived out your way, I would come and visit you. Well, thank you. Squirrel Girl says, Hawaii, land of the rainbows. Oh yeah, that's their national, or that's their. Well, it's on their license plate. Let's put it that way. Roxanne Epstein, I want to go to Hawaii so bad, but the flights are always full. I can't fly there free. Go to Google Flights. Go to Google Flights, I don't know, .com or whatever it is, and you might be able to find something cheap, maybe cheap flight. Squirrel Girl says my friend went recently. He said rained almost every day, so maybe it still does that. And when I was there in Hawaii, it was just a nice little sprinkling, nice. It wasn't like I said, it wasn't like, oh no, the rain. It was really nice. It was kind of welcome because it'd be kind of the heat, just sort of heating up, and then the cloud would come, it would rain, it would cool things down, and it didn't feel oppressively humid. I know I've been to Florida. I've been to the Gulf Coast during summer as a truck driver and getting out and walking around truck stops, and could be really gross. Hawaii was not like that. Now, when we went, it was June. It was late June, and I don't remember it being oppressively humid. it was just nice and tropical, and I just loved it. I loved the weather. I loved it, man. Pam J, Hawaii is a nice place to visit. Those tiny volcanic islands make me nervous. I couldn't live there. Barbara Nicholas is here. Hey, Barbara, good to see you. Barbara says the Weather Channel said Las Vegas had hail Thursday. Yeah, there was some hail, and I didn't get any here where I'm at. This is such a big valley. Everything is so spread out. You could have something on one side of the valley. You could have rain and hail, and then over here it could be completely dry where I'm at. Jeanette Vase, University of Hawaii, Rainbow Warriors. Yep. Fancy says, I saw a video of Texas hail. It was breaking windows. I've been in traffic. I've been in Colorado where literally baseball-sized hail coming down, and on I-25 between Colorado Springs and, going up towards Denver, so bad. I've seen it bust out. Like, it seems like the back or the hail hit the windshields. It was hitting my windshield, and everything was okay. But I saw other cars, and this happened like 2 or 3 times, where the back window just got completely shattered. I didn't see any windshields get shattered. I don't know, maybe it's different glass, the windshields are more of a safety glass, but I think it's all safety glass, but I don't know what it is. Or like I said, maybe this is a certain angle is just a certain way, but back windows were getting shattered on I-25 as I was driving. The hailstorm was so bad. And then people were just trying to get to the freeway overpasses, and they would park in there and try to ride out the storm. I think I just was able to drive through it because after I got a few miles, I kind of got out of the storm. But yeah, I've seen some pretty bad hailstorms. I've even, a lot of those areas like in Oklahoma and Texas Panhandle, I remember looking at cars, just seeing cars like parked in a parking lot or something, and they're just like have all these pock marks or whatever from the hail hitting their cars. They've got a lot of hail damage in a lot of these places. Hey, Robert Perez is here from down San Diego way. Good to see you. Robert says, top of the afternoon to you, Trucker John. It is afternoon now. And stay woke, everyone. Evil is on the loose. It is. Let's stay woke. Let's keep our heads on a swivel. Rides. Yeah, I know. But I think everything has accidents. So every mode of transportation. Pam J. Westwood, been there, drove around Maui and the Big Island. Nope, way too small. When I was there, we drove the entire circumference of Oahu. Oahu it's not the Big Island, but it's the main island, I guess you'd say, because that's the one that's most populated. That's the one that has the biggest city, and everything else. But we were able to drive the whole thing in one day, and that was with making stops. We stopped along the way at all the little sightseeing things. We even stopped at this on the north end. This place you could park and you could walk back into these waterfalls, and it was kind of like a big pond, and there was a waterfall that came down, and we were able to swim out and get behind the waterfall. It was really cool. It was really, really cool. Brooklyn says, TJ, how was work last night? To be honest, I didn't go to work. So But I can tell you that the night before last I went to work, and I can tell you that it is dead. Vegas is dead. Now, that doesn't mean it's dead. It's not dead. There's still lots of people. There's still so many people, in fact, that I'm able to do just as many trips and make just as much money as I make on any typical Thursday night or whatever. But you can just tell there's just not as many people. It looks weird. It just seems weird for being this time of year. This is supposed to be this is the busy season, supposedly. And this looks like mid-November or mid-December or something, or mid-January, which is kind of the slow part of the year. Hopefully I'm not freezing. It looks like there's a transmission issue going on. But it is definitely down. And I don't know if it's going to keep getting worse and worse, or this is just the beginning of it. The beginning of us really seeing a downturn. I guess it might be the beginning. But like I said, so far it hasn't affected me as far as I get the same amount of trips, I get the same amount of everything. But you can just see there's less people walking on the streets. There's less traffic on the streets. The line, it's weird. This could be a precursor of what's to come. Robert Perez says, I can relate to what's going on in the Oval Office. I also have 4 young children fighting and arguing in my house, so I can relate. Chris Doug says, I parked my truck under a giant pine tree during a wicked hailstorm in Mahwah, New Jersey. Luckily, no damage to the windshield. Pam J says, do we have tickets for T-Fog's big parade? I hear it's reservations only. I went online and I reserved 2 tickets, and I had with no intention of going. So someone said to do that. They said that would make it like less people could show up. But I kind of feel like that it's kind of virtual, or maybe the Trump administration, they're so stupid they wouldn't put any limit to it anyhow. So I don't know if it's going to work. Pam J, Oahu is where Honolulu. Yeah, Honolulu is the biggest city. And where we stayed, it was at Waikiki Beach, which is just south of there. You can see the Honolulu skyline and everything. In fact, we drove into Honolulu and stuff to check it out. But we were at Waikiki Beach, right on the beach, beautiful hotel. I love the hotels there because you just go down to the lobby. There's usually like a bar, and then there's like no doors. It just opens right up to the beach. You can just walk right out to the beach, right from the lobby or the bar or whatever, or the restaurant. Pam J, there's several places like that. Yeah, the beautiful waterfalls, and we found one that was very beautiful. West Webb, they know that people are buying admission, not intending to attend. They're pretty sure they'll be overbooking. Yeah, that's kind of what I just was saying. Yeah. Score Girl says open air airports on Oahu are unique. Haven't been in a long time. Not sure if things have changed. Well, Perez, Johnny, can you play any Prince song with your excellent air guitar later on? Well, I might get a copyright strike if I do that. So, Brooklyn says you were very tired last night. You needed the rest. I did rest. I got some good rest. Chris Deck says, warning, there's a salmonella outbreak in Southwest from eggs. Use caution. I just bought some eggs. And I live in, this is considered the Southwest, I believe. Hope I'll be all right. MJ Daniel, went to Hawaii when I was 17 in 1980. Bought a bag of pot from some guy on the beach. Had a great time. I bet you did. You got some of that Maui Wowie or something. MJ Daniel says the problem with the children in the White House is that they are psychotic and dangerous, and there are no adults supervising them. Yeah, the ramifications of their fighting could be a little more dangerous. Yeah. Notorious GRG, hey Notorious GRG, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Notorious GRG says on a ship on the way to Alaska and don't know how long. I be available on chat because I can't see the stream or hear it. But hi, Trucker John, from somewhere off Canadian coast in the Pacific. Wow. But I guess you see the chat. All right. Well, thanks for coming in and saying hi, and I hope you have a good. Are you on a cruise ship, or is it a cruise? Hope you're having a good time, whatever it is, and be safe out there. Chris Doug says I flew Chicago to Honolulu once, 11 hours. Ugh, I can be in Puerto Rico in 3.5 hours. Love San Juan, safe but caution at night. I've never been to Puerto Rico, but since I am West Coast, and at the time I was in California, so yeah, Hawaii is not too bad of a trip. I think it's like 4 hours, maybe. I don't know, but by air, of course. Fancy says, "Watch out for tomatoes." So now tomatoes too, huh? Sandy Fold says Dr. Pepper soda has a recall on their soda. Man, what's going on? What's going on with the world when Dr. Pepper gets a recall? Have you ever heard of Dr. Pepper having a recall? What is going on here? Wes Webb says we can't pray. By the way, hello, Wes. I don't know if I said hi earlier. We can't pray for a recession this early. Needs to happen closer to the election. I'm not. I don't know who was. Maybe I skipped something in the chat. I don't know who anyone was praying for a recession. But all I said is I think this is the start. What I'm seeing now in Vegas might be the start of something that's not good. West Web, 80% of last year's NASA traffic was SpaceX. I say we dump SpaceX, we get Northrop back, we get Boeing. There's plenty of other contractors that would be much more reliable. I think Elon Musk, anything that he's a part of should just be, we should cut all ties with Elon Musk. He is not reliable whatsoever. Talk about a child. You know, I mean, Philip Bittner was talking about it, and he's talked about it before about how earlier in the war between Ukraine and Russia, and how Ukraine was using Starlink satellites to stage an attack, and then fucking Musk just shut it off, push the button, shut off the satellites. You can't do that, man. You can't just fucking do that. So I say, fuck you, Elon Musk. Fuck SpaceX. Fuck Starlink. I'm sure there's plenty of other defense contractors that would only be too happy to take over that part of the our defense budget or whatever. MJ Daniel, we stayed at the Hilton Hawaii Waikiki. The building our room had just opened, and we were the first in that room. It was pretty nice. Nice. You got it all nice and fresh and with nobody else's cooties in there. Don Musil coming in here says the egg recall covers Arizona, California, Illinois, Indiana, Nebraska, New Mexico, Nevada, no, Washington, and Wyoming. Fancy says the tomatoes are down south. Walter Makarovich is here. Hey, Walter, good to see you. Thanks for dropping on into the old driver's lounge. Walter says, good Saturday, Trucker John. I guess next Saturday is so-called military parade for the Army. What about the Navy and the Marines anniversary? I guess it really is a birthday party for the orange turd. Yeah, it's just to massage his ego. He wants it to be about him. He's going to turn it into being about him and not about the military, not celebrating the military and all of its accomplishments. He's going to turn it into being about him. Wes Webb says, I want to go to Alaska. I have my eye on a couple of trips this summer. I want to go to Alaska, too. I've never been to Alaska. I always want, because, I'm a driver. I always wanted to drive the Alaskan highway all the way up. I might do that someday. Steve says, Dr. Pepper, what's the worst that could happen? Well, now we know. Sandy Foltz says that the diet and the regular Dr. Pepper got mixed up together. Jolie says Alaska is definitely on my bucket list. So Wes, not the only one that would like to go to Alaska. Caleb Guillory is, wait, what's up? What's wrong with Dr. Pepper? I'm drinking one right now. Does it taste okay? Were you expecting to be a regular or were you expecting to be diet? And does it taste like either of those things? And if you don't like diet, some people don't like diet, not only for the taste, but they don't like what the sweetener might be in it. So, just so you know what's going on. Roxanne would also like to go to Alaska one day. Fancy says, I heard Alaska has a lot of mosquitoes. Wow. I was thinking, like maybe someday, maybe I could get a motorhome, and a bunch of us that want to go to Alaska, we could go on this road trip and take the Alaskan highway up to Alaska. But I'm not sure. We might end up wanting to kill each other by the end of the trip, so I don't know. Squirrel Girl says, I wish we could cut all ties with the orange buffoon too. Yeah, well, I know. 2028 can't come soon enough, Hey, man, is it too much to ask for the American voters to show up in numbers like the likes of which have never been seen before in 2026 and get the majorities needed to impeach Donald Trump? Maybe that should be the main topic of trying to get people to vote, is to impeach Trump. Because with Republicans in there, we'll never be able to impeach him. Maybe that should be our main emphasis. You want to get rid of Trump? Let's fucking vote Democrats. Vote Democrat, man. It's going to get to the point where more and more people are going to go, this is fucked, man. This place, he has run this country into the ground. More and more people are going to be awakened to that. So maybe by 2026, and like Wes says, we don't need a recession now. We need it more closer to the election. If we could get the numbers, man, I mean, I definitely think we're going to get the House back. But if we can get the Senate, but we can't just have the Senate by like one vote. We need to have a majority. We need to have a supermajority, I believe, right? So getting some weird jerkiness. Yeah, it's gonna buffer. It's gonna do that. I was getting a signal, a message about a weak transmission due to a weak signal, or whatever it said. So that happens. That does happen here in this spot. Hopefully, it will get better. Stories. 23 flavors means 23 doses of sugar. Brooklyn, New York says, remember that big deal they made about drones during the Biden administration? Rump won, and that combo went away. Yeah, there's a lot of things that they have such double standards about. Almost everything is a double standard with them. Golf Marine's here. Hey, Golf Marine, good to see you. Thanks for joining us in the driver's lounge. Golf Marine says, hey, Brooklyn, we are the immovable object when it comes to MAGA and the irresistible force for that matter. Chris Doug says, I stayed at the Otani Kaimana Beach Hotel in Honolulu. Beautiful place. Gary, can I call you Gary's here? Good to see you, Gary. Can I call you Gary? Excuse me, did I just hear Frank Zappa reference from Dynamo Hum? Well, Frank Zappa was in the intro. I don't know if there was anything about Dynamo Hum. Wes Webb says, rumor that the parade will stop in the middle and everybody sing happy birthday. And that's just his little wet dream, isn't it? Don Usual says, cans of Dinty Moore beef stew, 20 ounce, produced by Hormel Foods Corporation, have been recalled due to the possibility that products may be contaminated with foreign matter. It just continues on. Ever since Trump took office, this shit has been getting, all this shit. Our food safety, our air safety, It's because, like that guy, and also in the intro, that everyone in the Trump administration are a bunch of buffoons and morons. This is what happens when we have our government being led by a kakistocracy. Kakistocracy. Which means they're a bunch of incompetent, unqualified idiots. Walter McCarver says, I will drink Dr. Pepper before Coke. They soap bottle for him. I didn't see that. I didn't hear about that, but I'm more of a Pepsi guy myself. Truth be told, not that Pepsi is, some, sure I'm sure they've got, shit that we could bring up, but mine is Kevin Anderson. Double O Kev says, I have cousins in Alaska. I have a relative in Alaska that I've never met. It's like well, you know what? I'm not sure if she's even a blood relative. Might be like on an in-law side of some cousins, I think. You know what? No. You know what? I think she is a blood relative. I think we have the same kind of blood relation that yeah, they live up in Montana. But anyhow, it's very removed type of thing. I've never met her, but she posts a lot of stuff on Facebook, and that's how I kind of ran into her, was on Facebook, and she lives up in Alaska. I think that's the only person that I know, even though I don't really know her. I just know her, through social media. But that's my only really connection to Alaska. Would be that gal. PMG, life is a highway. I'm going to drive it all night long. I like the original version better than the country version, by the way. Jolie says, whatever happened to CRT at Brooklyn 479? Lots of Republican talking points mysteriously disappear because it's all BS. Doesn't even occur to MAGA. Yeah, all that shit. All that. Oh, you're right, Jolie. All that fucking CRT shit. Not a peep now. Apparently, it wasn't so bad, or it didn't exist. Yeah, it's just such horse shit. The stuff they bring up, and the two side, the double standards of it, and everything. It's just, and the sad thing is how many people fall for it. Belfast Bob's here. Hey, Belfast Bob, good to see you. Thanks for joining us in the driver's lounge as we hang out and we continue the chat. We're just chatting today. That's all we ever do is chat. Chris Duck says, I spent a month in Alaska, one weekend. That's pretty funny. So apparently it was it's a slow, long 2 days or whatever. Westwood, let's all go to Alaska. I'm down. Brooklyn, New York 471. My Dr. Brown's orange soda is my favorite. Maybe a Brooklyn deli thing. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever had Dr. Brown's orange soda. I don't think I have. I'm not sure if I've heard of it. I'm not sure because I travel. I do. I drive. I used to drive all over the country, and I may have seen it at some point. I just don't remember. Caleb Guillory, is Canada letting stupid Americans drive to Alaska? Is stupid America letting Americans out? I heard something about, I think it was on Midas Touch, about how they're checking you, I guess Homeland Security or whatever, when you're trying to get out to go to Canada. Getting out usually wasn't the hard part. Getting back in would be the hard part. West Web, $14,000 for the fancy ferries from Vancouver to Anchorage. $14,000? That's a lot of fucking money, dude. Is that a misprint? Jen up the base says, Trucker John, you and me road trip to Alaska. What could go wrong? Just don't talk about baseball, I guess. I don't know. Hey, Terry Taylor's here. Good to see Terry. Thanks for joining us in the old driver's lounge. We got 47 watching, but only 40 thumbs up, so make sure you guys hit that thumbs up if you would. That'd be great. Terry Taylor says, well, now I have to chime in. I've driven the Alaska highway. Tell us more, because there are several of us in this chat that are interested in maybe going to Alaska someday. So tell us more. Like, how is that trip? How is the drive? Because I understand a lot of the highway is dirt or gravel. It's not paved all the way. But I also have heard, that most vehicles can make it, especially if the weather's not bad or whatever. That, like, even motorhomes and stuff make the trip. Because I've always thought about going in a motorhome. Golf Marine says, oh yeah, I have been to Alaska just to the airport on the way to Okinawa. It was whiteout conditions, so I didn't see anything. Caleb Guillory says, that would be funny. No, you have to fly around Canada. Sorry, bye. I don't know what Wes is talking about. Maybe I skipped something. I don't know. There's some argument going on. I don't know. Barbara Nicholas says, my neighbors joined an RV caravan last summer from Buffalo, New York to Alaska, then a cruise gone all summer. Wow, that sounds like fun to me. That sounds like a great trip. Golfering, did I kill the chat? I don't know. I might be freezing up every now and then. I am getting some weak signal or whatever every now and then, a message, and it just happens. It happens here, so hopefully it comes and goes and goes for a long time. Kevin Anderson, the thing that needs to happen to impeach and convict Trump is some of these judges say, I'm pissed, but I'll let it pass. And as they will find out, that's just good news for Trump. The thing that needs to happen to impeach and convict Trump is some of these judges say, I'm pissed, but I'll let it pass. And as they will find out, that's just good news for Trump. Well, anyhow, as far as being impeached, and removed or convicted, that's all done by the Congress. That has nothing to do with judges. So. Caleb Guillory, Kakasakasari, whatever. Kakastakasari. Belfast Bob, he's got the Supreme Court never happened, get majority and add extra. Oh, that's right, because the judges, the SCOTUS is like oversees the Senate hearing, but it's the Senate that does the voting on whether or not to remove. Right? It's like the House is the one they file they're the ones that file the impeachment papers and vote on passing that. And then if I remember, now you guys correct me. And then it goes to the Senate, and then the Senate holds the hearing, and I guess it's the Chief Justice oversees it, just like a judge in the courtroom. But it is the Senate that does. They're like the jury, I guess, and they are the ones that will vote on whether or not to remove or not remove. I guess but if I mess that up, let me know. Brooklyn says, I keep seeing a lot of ads for Andrew Cuomo for mayor. So he's probably going to win. Going to get another Cuomo back in there. Chris Doug, what happened to the drones from the Iranian mothership? I have no idea. Belfast Bob, love a good chat, TJ. Caleb Guillory says the Hillary investigations vanished too. Well, when Hillary was, I'm trying to remember. That was all during, like, which ones? Are you talking about the Benghazi ones, or are you talking about something else? I don't know. Pam J says the only way I'll get to Alaska is on a cruise. That would be okay. St. Alfonso's here. Hey, St. Alfonso, thanks for jumping on into the chat, hanging out with us. St. Alfonso says the crux of the biscuits is the apostrophe. Okay. Belfast Bob, I keep seeing dead people. Brooklyn, New York 471 says the most disgusting thing I ever tasted was Dr. Brown's celery soda, celery tasting soda. I gotta agree, that does sound pretty disgusting. Goth Marine, I keep seeing brain dead people. West Web, 2 people, $7,000 each, but no single cabins. $7,000, $7,000 per person. Yeah, well, things are expensive. That's why I am stuck here in Vegas. Josh, I don't think TJ would let me smoke in the RV. Yeah, no smoking, please. No smoking. Golf Marine says that Fanta was developed in Nazi Germany because sanctions cut them off from conventional soda flavorings. I'd like to take that train that goes from west coast of Canada to the east. It looks so nice. Yeah, I've always thought that. I guess there's some trains, even on the U.S. side, that you can do a cross-country train trip with a train car. I thought that looks interesting to me too. This is a joke taken from Pulp Fiction. Says John, what did Papa Tomato say to his slow son Ketchup? Oh well, I guess it's not quite like the one in Pulp Fiction when what's her face? She goes, didn't she say? Well, it was different. It was different than that. A little different. Fancy $2 super sticker. Yippee! Fancy, thank you so much for that super sticker. I do appreciate you. Thanks for helping out the show, helping us grow and keep going. West Webb says Grandpa's grandpa was the mayor of Grand Rapids, Michigan, notorious for putting whiskey in his coffee. Signs of an alcoholic, if I ever saw one. Fancy says he needs 4 more. Yeah, to make the goal. Yep. 4 more to make the goal. Jolie says, I would love to do a long-distance train ride. I just watch other people do it on YouTube. How much does that cost? Does anyone know? I've never checked the prices. Is that cheaper than the $7,000 or $14,000 to take the cruise on the ship? I hope so. Gufferine, if you grow enough weed, you can get a ride to anywhere. Nobody rides for free. I got the loophole. Fancy says, get a cabin with a shower in it, Jolie. It looks so cool. Non-usual says 650-foot mega tsunami sends seismic waves around the world and satellites capture the action from Alaska to Australia. Wow. I haven't seen that. Hey, James Haramiro's here. Hey, James, good to see you. Thanks for coming on into the Driver's Lounge. I do appreciate you hanging out with us. And we got David from Grand Prairie, Texas has joined the chat. Thank you for being here. David says, will there be sexcapades? Hi, all. I don't know if there's going to be sexcapades. Who knows? You never know. I don't even know what a sexcapade is, but hey, who knows? And I don't know where or when. Golf Marine says, somebody fill in the earthquake deets. Yeah, I didn't feel anything. It didn't reach us here in Vegas. West Webb says, after the midterms, the party needs to pick the most viable candidate. If that is Kamala, so be it. But let the people decide. I think the people do decide. As long as there's not ballot purging and registration purging and flipping votes, using things like Starlink, that shit. I don't know. Who knows? We just got to overwhelm them at the ballot box. Now, this last election was an exception. If you're talking about that, Joe Biden well, let's face it, he didn't look well. He didn't look like he was on top of his game. I still think if he'd stayed in, he probably would have won. And then he could have stepped down, and Kamala Harris could have been president. But, this whole thing, about Kamala wasn't the choice of the people or whatever. She sure was when she was on the ticket. She was on the ticket the whole time. So I don't want to get into that whole thing. That was a really unprecedented event that happened. And I suspect in 2028, there's going to be a full primary. Josh says, House impeaches, Senate convicts and removes. Yeah. So the House, that's what I said. They are the ones that bring forth the articles of impeachment. So Facebook, if you were on Facebook, you can't hear me right now, but maybe one of you for some reason. But anyhow, and then the Senate, they will hear all the evidence and all the arguments, and the Senate will vote on whether or not to, convict and remove, which is kind of the same. That's all part of the same process. Because if they don't convict, then they don't remove. But if they convict, they remove. But I think the Chief Justice is oversees the hearings, kind of like a judge. Sort of like kind of runs the proceedings. But as far as I know, has no is no factor in the decision. That is up to the Senate. Doug G says it's fun to get a buzz in the morning. Josh says it's a really good and progressive running against Cuomo. I think I know who you're talking about, Josh. I've seen, if you ever watch Riverboat Jack, she's been showing a lot of this guy. And I don't remember the guy's name either. He seems good. Just from what I've seen, if I lived in New York, but he's very, democratic socialist. He's very Bernie-like, AOC-like. I think, just from the couple things I've seen on Riverboat Jack. And I just thought, well, if I lived there, that's probably who I would vote for. Because I would definitely not vote for anyone who's right-wing or conservative. Even though these mayoral races are typically supposed to be nonpartisan, so they don't really say they don't have to say what party they are. But we know that Cuomo is going to be, he's probably be like a Democrat or whatever. And whatever, and we know if the Republicans are putting up Republicans. And this guy is, and I can't remember his name, but like I said, I might not agree 100% with everything that I've heard him say, but I think I would prefer him over Cuomo or any type of a right winger, for sure. So if anyone can remember his name, maybe put his name in the chat. I don't know why I'm stuttering all of a sudden. Brooklyn, a good beer buzz early in the morning. Is that Sublime? Is that Sublime? Maybe. I've heard that Sublime is now performing with the son of the former lead singer who was killed, right? A long time ago, like how many years ago has it been now? 20 years? Longer? And that he sounds exactly like his old man. So that's kind of exciting, if you like Sublime, you know. So apparently it has all the, from what I heard, it has all the original members of Sublime, except for, of course, the lead singer who's dead, and it's his son that's taken his spot. Because I believe they had filled it in with was it Rome or somebody? MJ Daniels, somebody had better get to some Republican representatives while they still can. This is their job to fix. Jolie says, Doug G, I love a good wake and bake. I had, whenever I think of wake and bake, it reminds me of a roommate I had in college. And I know this is not just, this is a common thing for pot smokers. But my roommate in college, it was always like, wake and bake, dude. I mean, he would get up. He had this bong. I think it was like a water bong that was like, it had to be 3 or 4 feet tall, man. And he's always like, wake and bake, man. He's like, here, Fowler, you want some? And he was always like, come on, Fowler. He's like passing me in the bong, I'm always like, wake and bake. I'm just kind of skipping down a little bit. I know I'm really behind in the chat, so I'm going to skip down a little bit. MJ Daniel says Americans should have listened to Clinton. She was right about, I think, just about everything. Hillary Clinton was right about everything, and so was Kamala Harris. And so was Joe Biden, by the way. Well, as Kevin says, that's what I was saying. Congress is fed up, but when they talk to the Senate and we hear what Trump did is against the law, but then we get mad and they make up a story like he'll be gone soon. Well, we can't count on the Republicans to do anything. Christina Weibel is here. Hey, Christina, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Beth, we'll take pounds. We take lira. I don't know if I'll take rubles. We'll take Denali. We'll take yen. Thank you so much, Belfast Bob. Yippee to you. And a good yippee to you. Jason Romero says the baby tomato was walking too slow. Mom stepped on it, maybe stepped on it, and said ketchup or something like that. Yeah, that was more of the joke from Pulp Fiction. Yeah. There was something about, he stepped on it and said ketchup. But once you step on it, it turns to ketchup again. Steve says, I saw the Rogan clip with Cash. All I can think is the USA has fallen a long way from let justice be done, though the heavens fall, to I know my league, and that's not it. Westwood, I heard something about that yesterday. I think volcanic activity is strengthening. Might have been on Facebook, which I never trust. And I'm going to blame that on the Trump administration also. Christina Weil, voter suppression. We got to overcome it, people. We got to overcome it. I know, we've talked about that before. Let's just be prepared for whatever it is that we're going to have to do, and let's do it. And let's overwhelm them at the ballot box. Gary can't call you Gary says a lot of problems have been exacerbated because of marijuana prohibition. Yeah. It put a lot of people in prison, and even more so, disproportionately so, I think, to people of color. And I don't think anyone should be put in prison for smoking some weed, no matter what. And I'm not a big weed smoker. You guys know. I mean, I've partied. I've smoked weed. I smoked weed on this show last year, I guess it was. But I'm not really big into it. I don't wake and bake. But I think, I don't think people should be going to prison for it, for God's sakes. Non-Mutual says 1.7 million air conditioners recalled over reports of mold growth causing upper respiratory issues and pneumonia. I just, the other day, I guess it was yesterday, I was afraid, and that they had finished by the time I started the live stream. But next door, they pulled out their air conditioning unit. These are like in the wall, like in the front wall. And they yanked that one out. I guess they were putting in a new one, and there was a lot of pounding going on. But fortunately, they stopped the pounding before the show started. Sandy Foltz says it's better when they had the voting machines where you close the curtain and pull down the levers. Yeah, and I'm all for mail-in voting. I've been basically mail-in voting since the early 2000s. Once I became a truck driver and I was on the road so much, so I was able to either vote absentee, which is basically just mail-in voting, and then once they started doing more mail-in voting in the last couple of elections, I guess I didn't really have to request an absentee ballot. I just requested mail-in. I've been doing the mail-in one. I think those are great. You can track your vote. You can see when it's been received and when it's been counted and everything. But yeah, going in person and either using the punch card or whatever. Just make sure there's no hanging chads. Florida, I'm talking to you. West Webb, convict and remove is asking a lot. But I think that the evidence of Trump committing high crimes and misdemeanors is really so overwhelming that it really shouldn't be that hard of an ask or hard of a decision. And when you have the Republicans basically just all in lockstep, going along or not voting to remove and convict or whatever, it just really kind of smells to high heaven to me. And Daniel said it convicts, at least for the president. Looking at you, McConnell, wonder if he regrets not voting yes last time. I don't think Mitch McConnell really regrets anything, actually. I think all he cares about is that he's held his Senate position and had the majority position, majority, whatever you call it, and has probably received many, many gifts. I think that's all he cares about. Now, the other day I said if I ran for like a House position, I would be doing it for the money and for the health care and the pension, which is true, but I would also be voting for good shit. I wouldn't be, denying the president his SCOTUS picks, for instance, even though I wouldn't be I'm not talking about being Senate majority, but whatever. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of like a hypothetical type of thing. Christina Weibel says 3 resolutions for impeachment introduced by Al Green. I follow Al Green on YouTube. And then Al Green's like, let's stay together, or something like that. Yeah, Chris Doug says there's a primary in New York City for mayor. Crooked Cuomo, the alleged predator, is too confident. Did anybody figure out who I was talking about? I think Josh. I think you know who I'm talking about. I can't remember the guy's name who's running, and he's more like a democratic socialist type, or certainly a progressive. And I can't remember his name. And like I said, if I lived in New York City, that's probably who I would vote for. And I say probably because I don't really keep up on it that much. Which Cuomo? Now this is Andrew Cuomo, right? Who's running? Christina Weibel, we voted on legalization in Florida in the last election, and DeSantis messed with it by changing the percentage. Oh, that's right. Well, did DeSantis do that, or was that another thing that was voted in? Yeah, we voted on legalization in Florida in the last election, and DeSantis messed with it by changing. Yeah, they changed the like the percentage that it had to pass by in order to get passed. Josh says, Mamdani. What's his first name? Do we know? Does he have a first name? Is that? Yeah, Gary, can I call you Gary? That's so correct, Julie. Oh yeah, I kind of skipped over that, talking about legalizing pot in Indiana, I think. Belfast Bob with another $2 or a 2 pound, I believe. Is that 2 pounds? Thank you so much, Belfast Bob. Yippee! I do appreciate you. That's 3 of 5, 2 to go. Thank you so much. Oh, Chris Doug says Zoran Mamdani. I believe that's who it is. So if you're in New York and you vote for that, for mayor, maybe look him up. Maybe donate to his campaign or whatever, Non-user says Texas passed sweeping changes to cannabis policy, including expanding the medical marijuana program and banning hemp products, while also boosting psychedelics research. Wow. That seems a little almost progressive by Texas standards. Let's stay together. Golfarina, it's like this. This is the sublime. Love the one you got, because you might get pulled over and you might get shot. And I believe he did. I believe he did get shot. Right? Isn't that how that guy died? Chris Doug says Mamdani is an assemblyman on the city council. MJ Daniel, happy I do not live in New York City right now. Their choices for mayor are pretty bad. Rat dragging a slice of pizza in the subway would be my choice. Well, look up that. Well, you don't live there, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But if anyone lives in New York City and you're eligible to vote, I suggest you look up that Mamdani guy, Mamdani. Sunny Fulch, you're buffering. Sorry about that. I wish that wouldn't happen. Thanks for letting me know, though, because sometimes I don't know. If it gets too bad, where it just, it's just constant buffering, then, it is good to know, because I might just end the show or something. Because if it gets too bad, it just becomes unwatchable. Chris Doug says Eric Adams is corrupt and Cuomo is a disgrace. Mandani is the Democratic Socialist that beat both of them and the Republican candidate. He beat them? So is he the mayor now? West Webb lost you for a second. Like I said, yeah, the transmission, it says the transmission is unstable due to a weak network connection. So, yeah, if it keeps it up, then we might have to end the show a little bit earlier. Go off and ring. That joke is about how far behind you always are, TJ. Catch up, the catch-up joke. Like I said, if I'm going to sit here reading chats, I'm always hope things are going well for you. Damon Dog, will you take Trump meme coin? I will not. Pam J, those old voting machines with the curtains can probably be manipulated. OG Adam Wells says, D-Day, such a sad day for Adolf and Trump. I believe that's right. I think, I don't think Trump's on our side, folks. I hate to break it to you. I don't think Trump is on the side of America. We have a traitor in the White House. We got a traitor in the White House. Sandy Foltz says, did you ever see someone that looked like someone you know who had passed away? I don't know. Maybe. Terry Taylor says, TJ, I think you missed my post about the Alaskan Highway. It goes from British Columbia to Delta Junction, Alaska, about 1,300, miles. It's all asphalt highway and gorgeous. Highly recommend. I did miss that somehow. That was a pretty long post, and somehow I missed it. I did skip down because I know I'm trying to get a little more caught up. But maybe someday, that is a bucket list item for me. And I've been thinking about looking into getting a used motorhome if I can get my shit together. And maybe going on some road trips. And Alaska is one of my bucket lists. And not taking a cruise and not flying. I want to do the Alaska highway thing. Squirrel Girl says, days long gone of hanging chads, no longer have those type of ballots. Laughing out loud, my chads were clearly punched out as they should have been. Don't blame it. All the morons that couldn't figure out how to fill out a ballot. But actually, it still isn't even their fault. It's the Supreme Court's fault for stopping the count. And led by people like Roger Stone, who led this protest, and led by, of course, our weak-ass Supreme Court. Hey, it looks like we made the goal. Thank you so much. Looks like it might have been Michael McAndrews. So yippee, Michael McAndrews, $10 silver sticker. Thank you so much. We made the goal, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I thank you all. Thank you for supporting this show. David Dog, I renamed this rest area to Puff Park. Now, Caleb Giller says, like Fetterman. I'm not sure what I skipped a lot of stuff, so I don't know what the conversation was with Fetterman. OG Adam West says, Clinton was my first vote at age 18. Then the rest were all in Hawaii, which is staunchly blue. 2-1 Kamala last time. Oh, Brooklyn says Trader Fetterman, Trader Gavin. I don't think Fetterman or Gavin are traitors. Okay, we might not like. I don't know what's going on with Fetterman. I don't know if he's having health issues and things that are related to his tact or his strategy. That's he's taking a strategy of talking with right wingers and all that kind of stuff, and which I don't really have a problem with. If he did it, like remember we would see Gavin Newsom go on Fox News and he would absolutely shred all of the bullshit that Fox News was trying to give him, and he would have no part of that. He would, that's the Gavin Newsom I like. Now we've been seeing him, he's like interviewing all these assholes, and it just comes off as weird and kind of weak and milk toasty. I don't like that, but I don't think that's a traitor. I mean, traitor in the sense of not liking the Constitution, not liking democracy. I think Gavin Newsom loves the Constitution. I think he loves democracy. I don't think he's a Putin stooge or a Putin puppet like Donald Trump is. That's what I mean by traitor. Okay, so you can be upset with Fetterman and you can be upset with Gavin Newsom for various reasons, but they're not traitors. Okay, in my opinion, anyway. I mean, I think some people you can get a little you can kind of mislabel or kind of go a little too far with that. Squirrel Gold, David Jolly has put his hat in the ring for governor. Yeah, I kind of saw that. I think on Nicole Sandler, maybe she was talking about that. No, usually I wake up, bake with my coffee, bake at lunch, bake at dinner, bake at bedtime, bake at 3 a.m. after I tinkle. Then I wake up and bake with my coffee. All right, good for you. I skipped way down because I'm way behind you. You guys are talking a lot of pot talk, so I'm going to skip a lot of that just because I don't relate to it. But hey, I don't begrudge any of you for partaking, and I have partaked in it myself. So I mean, I'm not trying to be like trying to present myself as something other than that. Oh, okay. So Chris Duck says Bradley Newell Sublime died of a heroin overdose. Okay, which is sad, and which is why I say don't do heroin. A little bit of a weird kind of Max Headroom thing going, So I'm just now getting to the wake and bake thing, which I was talking about like a half an hour. I think I'm about a half an hour behind the chat. So I'm going to skip down a little bit because we are getting up almost at 2 hours, and I really can't go much more than 2 hours without the phone dying. So I'm going to skip down a little bit here. Tara Taylor says it was a 4-car caravan to Alaska. James Jaramillo, I quit smoking weed cold turkey on July 3rd, 1994. Didn't have to be strong, just started making me paranoid as hell. And I think that's the issue I have with when I get high, like really high. It's like I get paranoid. There's the Michael. I'm just now getting to the Michael McAndrews $10 super sticker. So again, Michael, thank you so much. Yippee! I do appreciate you for that. And then there's Wes Webb 333. Thank you, Wes Webb. Yippee! 333 super sticker. I look in the mirror and see my dad all the time. Sometimes I do too. Like when I'm shaving or something, I kind of will see my dad. in me. It stands to reason. We usually look like our parents in some way. Non-usual says 42-year weed smoker and lungs are clear. I even had TB as a child and pneumonia. Oh, pneumonitis pneumonia. I didn't know there was that strain of pneumonia. Twice. Caleb Guillory, Fetterman needs to resign and focus on Fetterman. Yeah, well, I really don't pay attention to that all that much. So, if his health is that bad, then yeah, I would agree. Brooklyn says Pete would go on Fox and shred. I love Pete. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Buttigieg did it, but Gavin Newsom was doing it also. I remember, because I remember going, wow. I mean, this is like, before he started doing his podcast, maybe even before the election. And I was like, damn, Gavin Newsom. He reminds me of a young Joe Biden. Like, this is what Joe Biden would be if Joe Biden wasn't old. That's what Gavin Newsom was reminding me of. And even, just being sharp, having all the facts, coming back with facts. He was good, man. But now I with his whole, the thing that changed me is his podcast and how seems really weird and milquetoasty with these right wingers. I don't get it. If you're going to have the right wingers on, then fucking shred them. I think there's a lot more people would appreciate that. Just tear them to pieces with your facts and your knowledge and your positions, your policy positions. But then he would probably say, well, then no one will come on. And I'd be like, okay, then fuck it. Then fucking interview someone else. I mean, I don't know. Maybe, and I don't know what his ratings are or if it's been successful. I don't know. But if he's planning on running for president, he's going to have to turn it back around, we call it that, and tell that podcast. And I haven't even, I've only listened to bits and pieces and clips of it. But every little piece of clip that I've watched just gives me the creeps. And that's not really a good way to try to win people's votes. If they watch you and you give people the creeps. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I think you know what I mean. I think you do know what I mean. More pot talk. I'm going to skip all the pot talk. Not, like I said, not that I have anything against it, but I just don't really relate to it. And, oh, here we go. Cherry Chandler, you missed my post saying, me, my hubby, Phil? Is his name Bill or Phil? I don't know. In a 4-car caravan to Alaska, the guys list me in Great Falls, or maybe lost you, I guess, in Great Falls, Montana. Hubby found me, though. It was quite the adventure. Lived in Wasilla, Palmer, Alaska. Wasn't that where Sarah, what's her face? Wasn't she the mayor of Wasilla or something? Or the governor? No, the governor of Alaska. Was she a mayor in Wasilla? What's her face? All right, I think I caught up. I did skip down a lot. Now I'm caught up, and we still have a lot of pot talk. It's pot talk today on the Trucker John Show. We got 55 watch and 51. Maybe pot talk maybe I should do more pot talk. We've got some people that have come in. But could be a very popular subject. Pot talk here. Caller 1, you're on You're on Pot Talk. What's your take on all the Pot Talk? Caller 1. Well, I like the sativa, man, because it kind of like evens me out, man. I don't know. That was my impression of a caller talking about. Wasn't Sarah Palin the mayor of Wasilla? Something like that. It looks like we're doing a lot of buffering, by the way, at least on my iPad. West Webb, she was Miss Alaska. Well, yeah, way before that. I don't know if she was Miss Alaska. She was a beauty pageant contestant. Her home state was down in the lower 48, I believe. I think she was from fucking Indiana or Illinois or some butt place like that, Wes. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. She was, and then she moved to Alaska later in life, a little later in life, I believe, and became the mayor of Wasilla. Terry Taylor says yes. Sarah Palin lived. Roxanne Epson, you're learning, TJ. Gin Up the Base says, Trucker John, let's get you up to speed on Pot Talk 420, TJ. I'll come in the studio. Yeah. Terry Taylor, Sarah Palin was the governor. Well, I thought she was the mayor, and then she became governor. I thought. MJ Daniel, I thought she was the mayor of Crazy Town. Belfast Bob, still lots of moonshine or fine whiskey. Black Bush, yummy. 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 Chris Doug, Palin is from Minnesota. She's from Minnesota. Is that where she, and I don't think she won. I think she was like a runner-up or something in this beauty pageant thing. Belfast Bob, hash fudge coming, DJ. Wes Webb, she talked like the northerner or Canadian. She talked like she was from Minnesota. Don't you know? Non-useful Sarah Huckabee Hound Dog is the governor of extremely low IQ, Arkansas. Yeah, and she is not too happy with Donald Trump not helping them with some of their hurricanes and shit, or tornadoes, I guess it was. Or I think that's what they had. So there you go, Sarah. Josh, didn't we have a couple growing discussions in chat here? Oh, about growing. Sandy Foltz, so bringing us back to the Dr. Pepper. I've always liked Dr. Pepper. I've never been a Dr. Pepper hater. I like to mix it up. I'm basically cola, more Pepsi than I am Coke. He should. Arkansas cares about him. Those are probably where most of his maggots are from. The favor of voting for him is by screwing you over. It does look like things are getting chopped. Freeze? Am I frozen again? Westwood, I drink tea, but was raised on free Pepsi products. Now, do you mean free like they didn't cost you anything? Or was that like free like it's like caffeine free or something, or sugar? I think I am experience of trying a soda called Moxie. It's like carbonated Robitussin mixed with castor oil. I don't believe so. I do not believe so. And it sounds like I'm not missing much. Yeah. West Webb, Church Pepsi was only I think, dime. That's what he meant. Sandy Foltz, Orange Crush is good soda. I'll have an Orange Crush every now and then, every then and again. You know? Brooklyn, New York City, guys. I'm frozen, or I'm glitching. I'm looking pretty glitchy. So let me know if I'm glitching. Am I still glitching? It looks like I'm frozen. I don't see me moving on my iPad. My iPad is frozen. And we're just about at the 2-hour mark. So I think I'm probably going to put an B in here. Terry Taylor says you're glitching a lot. The Soulcraft. Gin at the base. It's a long season. I really don't get worried if the Dodgers drop a few games here and there. It's a long season. Soulcraft, 21st Century Girls come in later. It's too bad we couldn't raid over to them, but I think we're still over a half an hour away. And I don't know if my signal will last a half an hour, and I don't know if my battery will last another half an hour. But if we could, it would be nice to do a raid to them. But like I said, I don't think they come on until 2:00 my time. Right, Adam. They don't come on for another 33 minutes, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see anybody. That we could really raid to. But anyhow, if any of you guys go into 21st Century Suffragettes, I think they come on at 2 in a half an hour, I think, right? If you guys want to just say, it's not really a raid, I guess, but, I don't know, just say hi to them. Just say hi to them from Trucker John, I guess. I don't even see their upcoming. You know how you can get the upcoming one? Anyhow. The YouTube pages are kind of weird. It gets so kind of random. All right, guys. Anyhow, let me go back to my page. All right, guys. Adam, don't know. Thought it was tomorrow. Oh, they're not. Okay, disregard. No wonder I couldn't find them. Okay, so they're on tomorrow. Well, if you see them tomorrow, tell Trucker John said hi. I don't know. Or check them out tomorrow. Tomorrow is usually Boston Brian, and we got 21st Century. I'll do a little promos for some of these shows. I believe Boston Brian. I think Texas Paul. So usually, Texas Paul will be on early, and then Boston Brian's on, and then usually 21st Century Suffragettes will come on sometime after Boston Brian. Usually, something like that. So those are 3 picks. Those are 3 of Trucker John's picks for tomorrow on Sunday. All right, Texas Paul, Boston Brian, and the 21st Century Suffragettes. In case were wondering what to watch on YouTube tomorrow. All right, guys. So anyhow, I guess that's it for now. Again, here's the time. Here's the part of the show where I hope you had a pad to write on, pencil or a pen or a Sharpie or a crayon or whatever you got. An eyeliner, pen. Here's the words of wisdom for today. You ready? Here we go. All right.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. We'll have some fun times. Take a shower. No, that's not what I meant. With over now, my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John Livestream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John Livestream. Yeah, the Trucker John Livestream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John Livestream. No, this time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Trucker John, on the road he rides, live streaming all through the nights. From politics to pop culture he speaks. No topic is off limits, nothing is weak. From Vegas to the highways, he'll never tire. Shouting about food, talking about desire. He's the rebel of the asphalt, the king of the night. With a microphone in his hand, he's ready to ignite. Freedom is his fuel, passion in his soul. Gotta express himself, gotta take control. Moving through the country, keeping it real, no filter, no. Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food and movies and bugs, shining a light on all the social issues. No shows, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. For free.